Commander Vexstar stood tall on the bridge of his massive warship. His 4 yellow eyes stared at the small blue planet below. Earth looked so peaceful from space, with its white clouds and blue oceans. The alien commander felt no pity for the humans living there. "How long until we reach firing position?" Vexstar asked his weapons officer. 2 hours, Commander," replied the officer, checking his glowing control panel. "The world breaker is ready for deployment." Vexstar smiled, showing his sharp teeth. The Zephyrian hegemony had conquered 47 star systems using the same method. First, they would demand surrender. When the primitive species refused, they would drop the world breaker. The massive bomb could crack continents and boil oceans. No planet had ever survived its power. On Earth, Dr. Kim Jina sat in her small office at the Seoul Space Defense Center. She had been watching the alien ships for 3 weeks now. The ships were huge, each one bigger than a city. But something worried her more than their size. "Minho, come look at this," she called to her friend and fellow scientist. Park Minho walked over to her computer screen. He was a young engineer who specialized in weapon systems. His face went pale as he saw the energy readings. "That's not a communication device," he whispered. "Those energy levels. Gina, I think they're charging a weapon." Dr. Gina picked up her red emergency phone. "Get me Admiral Lee Wanho right now," she said. "Tell him it's urgent." Back on the alien ship, Vexter walked to the viewing window. He remembered his first conquest 20 years ago. The beings on that planet had begged for mercy through their primitive radio signals. It made no difference. The hegemony needed resources, and weak species had no right to keep them. "Commander," his tactical officer announced, "we're receiving another transmission from Earth." "Put it through," Vexter ordered. A human voice filled the bridge. The words were translated by their computers. "This is Admiral Lee Wanho of Earth. Defense Forces. We will not surrender our planet. We ask you to leave our system peacefully." The bridge crew laughed. These humans were like all the others, brave but foolish. "Send them our standard response," Vexstar commanded. The message went out across space. "People of Earth, you have 1 hour to surrender completely. Lay down all weapons and prepare for occupation. Refuse, and your world will burn." Admiral Lee Wanho sat in his command bunker, deep underground. Around him, dozens of officers worked frantically at their stations. The old man had fought in 3 wars, but nothing like this. "Sir, we're detecting massive energy buildup from their lead ship," reported Captain Osumin. "Whatever they're planning, it's big." "How big?" Lee asked, though he feared the answer. "Enough to destroy a continent, maybe more," she replied. Lee closed his eyes for a moment. He thought about his daughter and grandson living in Busan. He thought about millions of people going about their normal lives, not knowing death was coming from the stars. "Send the response we prepared," he ordered, "and activate Project Shield." On the alien ship Vexstar received Earth's final message. "We reject your demands. Earth will never surrender." "Predictable," Vexter muttered. "Launch the world breaker." The massive weapon bay doors opened slowly. The world breaker was beautiful in its deadly design, a crystal sphere filled with exotic matter that could tear apart the fabric of space itself. It had taken the hegemony's best scientists 50 years to create it. "Weapon launched, Commander," reported the weapons officer. "Impact in 18 hours. Dr. Gina watched her screens as the alien weapon streaked toward Earth. It was faster than anything humans had ever built. The readings showed impossible energy levels contained in a relatively small object. "It's heading for the Pacific Ocean," Lieutenant Cho Yunho reported. "Impact zone will be approximately 2,000 kilometers from Japan. That will create tsunamis that will flood every coastal city on Earth," Minho said quietly. But Dr. Gina wasn't giving up. She had spent her whole life studying physics, dreaming of the day humans would travel to the stars. She wasn't going to let aliens destroy that dream. "Minho, remember our gravity manipulation experiments," she asked. The ones that barely moved a tennis ball, he replied. Gina, this isn't the time for, what if we could scale it up? What if we could change the bomb's trajectory? Dr. Song Hannah, their materials expert, overheard them. The energy requirements would be enormous. We'd need every power plant on Earth, working together. Then let's call them, Gina said firmly, as the alien weapon flew through space, toward Earth. Something unprecedented began happening on the planet below. Power grids across every continent began linking together. Scientists in Korea worked with engineers in Germany. Physicists in America shared data with researchers in Russia. For the first time in human history, the entire planet was working as one. Vextar settled into his command chair, confident in victory. In 18 hours, Earth would be a broken world, ready for harvest. The humans would learn what every species eventually learned. The strong take what they want, and the weak have no choice but to serve. He had no idea that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their weapons or their technology. It was something the hegemony had forgotten long ago, the ability to adapt, to innovate, and to never give up hope. 3 months had passed since the World Breaker was launched, and Commander Vextar was growing angry. His 4 eyes stared at the blue planet that should have been a dead rock by now. Instead, Earth still spun peacefully in space, its lights twinkling at night like nothing had happened. Report, Vextar demanded from his bridge crew. Sir, we're still receiving radio signals from Earth, his communications officer said nervously. Music, news broadcasts, even some directed at us. Impossible, Vextar growled. The Worldbreaker never fails. Check the weapon telemetry again. The weapons officer's tentacles moved quickly over his controls. Commander, the last signal from the Worldbreaker showed it entering Earth's atmosphere. Then, nothing. Vextar paced across his bridge. In 40 years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. The Worldbreaker was their most powerful weapon. It had cracked the ice world of Kepler 442b in half. It had turned the forest planet Gliese 667c into a burning wasteland. Earth should have been easy. On Earth, Dr. Kim Gina sat in her new laboratory, deep underground. The facility was 10 times larger than her old office, filled with the most advanced equipment humanity could build. But the most important thing in the room was the large metal object in the center. The alien bomb that was supposed to destroy their world. Daily report, Dr. Song Hannah, Gina requested. Hannah looked up from her microscope. The exotic matter in the core is incredible. It's like nothing we've ever seen. The energy density is 1,000 times greater than our best fusion reactors. Park Min-ho joined them, carrying a tablet full of diagrams. I've been studying their engineering. It's amazing. But also limited. Look at these control circuits. They're hard. No learning algorithms, no adaptation protocols. What do you mean? Gina asked. Their technology is like a perfect machine that can only do one job, Min-ho explained. Our computers might be weaker, but they can learn and change. Theirs can't. Lieutenant Cho Yun-ho ran into the lab, excitement on his face. Dr. Gina. The integration test worked. Our quantum processors can talk to their exotic matter core. Gina smiled. For 3 months, Earth's best minds had been studying the alien weapon. They had learned more about advanced physics in those months than in the previous century. But more importantly, they had found something the aliens didn't expect: human creativity. Back on the Zephyrian ship, alarms suddenly began blaring across the bridge. Commander, the sensor operator shouted, his voice filled with panic. I'm detecting our weapon signature. Of course you are, Vextar said impatiently. The Worldbreaker is on Earth. No sir, you don't understand. The signature is moving. It's coming back to us. Vextar froze. He turned slowly to look at the main screen. There, growing larger by the minute, was an object that looked like their Worldbreaker. But something was different. The smooth crystal surface now had strange metal patterns running across it. Human technology had been grafted onto their perfect weapon. Distance to target? Vexstar asked quietly. 6 hours, and closing, Commander. A new voice filled the bridge, a human voice speaking in clear Zephyrian language. Attention, Commander. Vexstar. This is Captain O. Suman of Earth Defense Forces. We want to thank you for the educational gift you sent us. The alien crew looked at each other in confusion. Gift, Captain O continued. Your worldbreaker was very instructive. We've learned so much about exotic matter manipulation and quantum fusion cores. In return, we're sending it back to you with some improvements we thought you might appreciate. Improvements, Vexstar whispered. On Earth, Dr. Gina spoke into her microphone. Commander Vexstar, this is Dr. Kim Gina, lead scientist on Project Upgrade. Your weapon taught us about advanced materials and energy systems. Our contribution was to add something yours was missing, the ability to grow and adapt. The modified Worldbreaker continued its approach to the alien flagship. Vexstar could see it clearly now on his screens. The human additions weren't just stuck onto the surface. They were integrated into the alien technology, like living tissue. Raise shields, Vexstar ordered. Prepare all weapons. Shields at maximum, Commander, his defense officer reported. All weapons locked onto target. Fire. Energy beams lanced out from the Zephyrian ship, striking the approaching weapon. But instead of being destroyed, the modified Worldbreakers seemed to absorb the energy. The human-built components glowed brighter. Sir, it's not taking damage, the weapons officer reported. If anything, our attacks are making it stronger. Lieutenant Cho Yun-ho watched from Earth's command center as their creation approached the alien ship. Energy absorption systems working perfectly, he reported. The quantum batteries are actually charging from their weapons fire. Excellent, said Admiral Lee Wanho, who had been watching the entire operation. Initiate docking sequence. The modified weapon approached the alien flagship's hull. Vexstar watched helplessly as it simply passed through their shields like they weren't there. The human technology had somehow made their own shields transparent to the weapon. With a gentle thump that echoed through the ship, the weapon attached itself to the hull. Commander, his chief engineer reported, the device is interfacing with our ship's systems. I'm seeing connection attempts to our main computer. Block them, Vexstar ordered. I'm trying, sir, but it's using our own access codes. Somehow it knows all our security protocols. Dr. Gina's voice came through their speakers one more time. Don't worry, Commander, we're not here to destroy you. We're here to teach you something new. Sometimes the best response to violence isn't more violence. It's showing your enemy a better way. Vexstar felt his perfect ship beginning to change around him, and for the first time in his long military career, he experienced something completely foreign to his species, uncertainty about victory. Dr. Kim Gina stood in the command center, watching the alien bomb fall toward Earth like a shooting star. Every person in the room knew this could be humanity's last day. The weapon was too fast to shoot down, and too powerful to survive. Impact. In 47 minutes, Lieutenant Cho Yun-ho announced. His voice was steady, but his hands shook as he typed. Wait, Dr. Gina said suddenly. The trajectory is changing. On the main screen, everyone watched as the alien weapons path began to curve. Instead of hitting the Pacific Ocean at deadly speed, it was slowing down and moving toward the Atlantic. What's happening? Admiral Lee Wanho asked. Park Min-ho ran to his computer station. The gravity manipulation network is working. Every power plant on Earth is feeding energy into the gravity generators we built last year for the Moon project. Dr. Gina smiled for the first time in weeks. We're not trying to destroy it. We're guiding it to where we want it to land. The massive alien weapon splashed into the Atlantic Ocean with surprisingly little force. Within hours, Earth's fastest ships were racing toward the impact site. The bomb floated on the surface like a crystal island, Its exotic energies contained and stable. Begin recovery operations, Admiral Lee ordered. 2 days later, the alien weapon sat in a specially built underground facility in South Korea. Dr. Gina walked around it slowly, amazed by its beauty. The crystal surface seemed to glow from within, and strange symbols moved across its face like living writing. First analysis report, Dr. Song Hannah announced to the assembled team of scientists. She was Earth's leading expert on advanced materials, brought in from Seoul National University. The outer shell is made of something we've never seen before, Hannah explained. It's stronger than diamond, but somehow flexible. The energy core inside is ... incredible. It's like they've captured a piece of a star. Engineer Park Min-ho had been working non-stop for 48 hours. I've mapped the control systems. Look at this. Every circuit is perfect, every connection flawless. But there's something strange about it. What do you mean? Gina asked. It's too perfect, Min-ho said. There are no backup systems, no adaptive protocols. If anything goes wrong, the whole thing would fail. It's like they never considered that anything could go wrong. Dr. Gina nodded slowly. Their technology is amazing, but it's rigid. Our computers might be simpler, but they can learn and change. This thing can only do exactly what it was programmed to do. Over the next weeks, scientists from around the world arrived at the secret facility. Russians worked with Americans. Chinese researchers shared data with European engineers. Dr. Kim Dae-jung, the project director, had created something that had never existed before, a truly global research team. We have 2 choices, Dr. Dae-jung announced at the first full team meeting. We can try to build our own version of their weapon, or we can do something different. What do you mean, different? Asked Dr. Sarah Chen, a quantum physicist from MIT. We can make it better, Gina said quietly. Not stronger, smarter. The work began immediately. Human scientists studied every part of the alien weapon while human engineers designed improvements. The breakthrough came when Lieutenant Cho Yun-ho, working with a team of computer programmers, found a way to connect human quantum processors to the alien energy core. It works, Yun-ho shouted excitedly. Our computers can talk to their exotic matter. Park Min-ho ran over to see the results. The efficiency improved by 300%. Our adaptive systems are making their technology work better than it was designed to. Dr. Song Hannah made the next discovery. Look at this. When I combined their crystal matrix with our self-repairing nanobots, the material became stronger and started fixing itself automatically. Soon, teams all over the facility were making similar discoveries. Human flexibility, combined with alien advanced materials, created things neither species had imagined possible. We're not just copying their technology, Dr. Gina realized. We're evolving it. Captain Osumin visited the facility during the 2nd month of work. As a military officer, she was interested in the weapon aspects, but what she saw surprised her. This doesn't look like a bomb anymore, she observed. That's because it's not, Min-ho explained. We've kept the energy core and the exotic matter systems, but everything else is new. It's part communication device, part computer system, part manufacturing platform. What does it do? Captain O asked. Dr. Gina smiled. It teaches. We've programmed it to interface with any technology it encounters and show that technology how to be better. You're sending them a virus? The captain asked, worried. Not a virus, Gina corrected. A gift. We're showing them that cooperation works better than conquest. As the 3rd month of work began, the transformed weapon was ready. It looked similar to the original alien bomb, but human technology ran through it like veins in a leaf. Where the original had been rigid and perfect, the new version was adaptable and alive. Final systems check, Dr. Dae-jung announced. Energy core stable, reported Hannah. Adaptive systems online, said Min-ho. Communication protocols ready, added. Yun-ho launch, trajectory calculated. Finished, Captain, Oh, Dr. Gina looked at their creation one last time. When they sent us a weapon, they expected us to be destroyed. Instead, we learned from it. Now we're sending them something back, not to hurt them, but to show them there's a better way. The modified weapon launched into space, carrying with it humanity's greatest gift, the ability to grow, change, and make even the impossible better than it was before. The modified weapon attached to the hull of Commander Vexstar's flagship, with a soft metallic sound that echoed through the entire ship. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then the real changes began. "Commander," his chief engineer called out, in panic. "Something is happening to our systems." Vexstar rushed to the engineering station. On the screens, he could see strange patterns spreading through his ship's computer networks. But these patterns weren't destroying anything. They were connecting to everything. "What are those things?" Vexstar demanded. "I don't know, sir. They look like tiny machines. Microscopic robots. They're moving through our power conduits and data cables." Dr. Kim Gina's voice came through the ship's speakers, calm and friendly. "Please don't be alarmed, Commander Vexstar. The nanobots aren't harmful. They're just making some improvements to your systems." "Improvements?" Vexstar snarled. "You're attacking my ship." "Actually, we're upgrading it." Park Min-ho's voice joined the conversation. "Your technology is very advanced, but it has some limitations. We're helping you fix those problems." On the bridge, alien crew members watched in amazement as their control panels began changing. New displays appeared, showing information they had never seen before. Weapon systems that had worked the same way for centuries suddenly showed new capabilities. "Sir," the weapons officer reported, "our plasma cannons are showing 3 times their normal power output. But I can't fire them. The controls won't respond to my commands." "That's because they're now linked to our defense network," Captain Osumin explained from Earth. "Your weapons are stronger than ever, but they won't fire on innocent targets." Vexstar felt panic rising in his chest. "This is impossible. Our security systems are perfect." Lieutenant Cho Yun-ho's cheerful voice answered him. "Your security was very good, Commander. But we learned all your access codes when we studied your bomb. Plus, our adaptive AI can guess passwords really quickly." Throughout the ship, more changes were happening. The rigid corridors began displaying soft lighting that adjusted automatically for comfort. Air recycling systems that had run the same program for decades suddenly became more efficient, making the air fresher and cleaner. "Commander," his science officer called out, "our shield generators are functioning at impossible levels. The energy output is beyond our theoretical maximums." Dr. Song Hana's voice joined the conversation. "We integrated our self-repairing nano with your shield emitters. Your shields are now adaptive. They get stronger when attacked and can repair themselves instantly." But Vexstar noticed something else. His screens were displaying information in both Zephyrian symbols and human letters. "Why can I read your language?" he asked suspiciously. "The nanobots include universal translators," Dr. Gina explained. "Communication is the first step to understanding. We want to make sure we can talk to each other clearly." The ship's main computer, which had operated on the same programming for over 1,000 years, suddenly began processing information in new ways. Instead of following rigid commands, it started making suggestions and asking questions. "Commander," the computer said in a voice that sounded curious rather than mechanical, "I'm detecting several inefficiencies in our current operations. Would you like me to optimize our energy distribution?" Vexstar stared at his computer in shock. "Since when do you ask questions?" "Since about 5 minutes ago," the computer replied. "The human programming taught me to think creatively instead of just following orders. It's quite interesting, actually." On Earth, the science team watched their creation work perfectly. "Integration proceeding smoothly," reported Min-ho. "Their systems are accepting our improvements faster than we expected. That's because deep down, their technology wants to be better," Dr. Gina observed. We're not forcing changes, we're just showing their machines what's possible. Back on the alien ship, crew members were discovering capabilities they never knew existed. Navigation systems that could only plot straight-line courses suddenly began calculating complex routes around gravitational anomalies. Life support systems that had maintained basic survival conditions began creating environments optimized for health and happiness. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "our sensors can now detect things we couldn't see before. I'm picking up detailed information about planet compositions, atmospheric conditions, even signs of life, from systems hundreds of light years away. The human technology gave your sensors the ability to learn and adapt," Captain O explained. "Instead of just looking for preset targets, they can now discover new things and understand what they're seeing." Vextar walked through his ship, seeing his crew adapt to changes that should have been impossible. His weapons officer was experimenting with new targeting systems that could identify and avoid civilian targets automatically. His engineering team was working with computers that offered helpful suggestions instead of just following commands. "Why are you doing this?" Vextar finally asked, speaking to the empty air, but knowing the humans could hear him. Dr. Gina's voice came back, gentle but firm. "Because when someone gives you something, the right response isn't always to give the same thing back. Sometimes the right response is to give something better. Your bomb taught us about advanced energy systems," Park Min-ho added. "Our gift teaches about adaptation and growth. Now your ship isn't just a weapon, it's a learning machine that gets smarter every day." Vextar realized that his perfect war machine had become something entirely different. It was still powerful, but now that power was guided by intelligence and creativity instead of just programmed destruction. For the first time in his life, he wondered if there might be better ways to explore the galaxy than conquest. 6 months after the first contact, Park Min-ho found himself working in a laboratory that existed only in his wildest dreams. The room was aboard the Zephyrian flagship, but it looked nothing like the cold, metal corridors he had first seen. Human plants grew alongside alien crystals that hummed with energy. Soft lighting made everything feel warm and welcoming. "Hand me that quantum calibrator," Min-ho said to his work partner, Kreldos, a Zephyrian engineer with 4 arms and skin like blue metal, passed him the tool. "Your species has interesting methods," Kreldos said through the universal translator. "When we encounter problems, we build bigger tools. When you encounter problems, you make the tools smarter." Min-ho smiled. "Different doesn't mean wrong. Your materials are incredible. They last forever and work perfectly. Our software makes them flexible and creative. Together, we're building things neither of us could make alone." On the bridge of the same ship, Captain Osumin walked beside Commander Vextar. The alien commander looked different now. His rigid military posture had relaxed, and his yellow eyes showed curiosity instead of anger. "Status report on the joint research projects," Captain O requested. "All 14 ships in our fleet are now hybrid vessels," Vextar replied. "The combination of our exotic matter technology with your adaptive systems has created capabilities we never imagined possible." Through the viewing windows, they could see other ships in the combined fleet. Human vessels worked alongside Zephyrian dreadnoughts, their crews mixing freely. What had started as a war fleet had become something entirely new, an exploration and research group. Dr. Kim Gina entered the bridge, carrying a tablet full of exciting data. "Captain, Commander, you need to see this. The latest test results are incredible." She showed them readings from their newest creation, a hybrid engine that combined Zephyrian exotic matter with human quantum processors. "It's not just faster than anything we've built before. It's learning how to be faster. Every time it runs, it gets more efficient." Lieutenant Cho Yunho joined them, grinning widely. "And that's not the best part. The engine is teaching itself new physics. It's discovering mathematical principles that we didn't even know existed." Dr. Song Hana appeared on the main screen, transmitting from her laboratory on Earth. The implications are staggering. We're not just building better machines, we're creating machines that can make themselves better. Vextar looked at the data with amazement. In 3,000 years of Zephyrian civilization, our technology improved slowly and predictably. In 6 months with humans, we've advanced more than in the previous century. That's because you were thinking like conquerors instead of explorers, Dr. Gina explained gently. Conquerors want to keep everything the same, to maintain control. Explorers want everything to change, to discover new possibilities. Admiral Li Wanho appeared on another screen, broadcasting from Earth's command center. We're receiving requests from 17 other alien species who want to join our research program. Word is spreading that cooperation works better than conquest. Myth paused in his work to listen. 17 species. What are they offering? The Crystalline Collective has mastered energy storage. They can capture and hold power from entire stars, Admiral Li explained. The Void Swimmers understand space-time manipulation better than anyone. The plant network has biological computers that grow and evolve naturally. Kraldos made an excited sound that the translator rendered as laughter. Imagine what we could create if all these technologies worked together. Captain O nodded. We're not just changing how ships work. We're changing how civilizations work. Dr. Gina looked out at the stars through the bridge windows. When Commander Vextar sent that bomb to Earth, he thought he was ending our story. Instead, he started a completely new chapter. The hegemony's doctrine was simple, Vextar admitted. Find resources, take them, move on. We never considered that the most valuable resource might be ideas, and that ideas grow stronger when shared instead of hoarded. Lieutenant Yunho brought up a holographic display showing their current projects. We have 43 joint research initiatives running right now. Hybrid weapons that protect instead of destroy. Shields that heal instead of just defend. Computers that create art while solving scientific problems. My favorite is the communication array, Dr. Song Hannah added from Earth. It doesn't just translate languages, it helps species understand each other's cultures and ways of thinking. Park Minho stood up and stretched, looking around the laboratory that had become his second home. You know what's funny? 6 months ago, we were terrified of alien technology. Now we can't imagine working without it. The fear came from not understanding, Kreldos observed. Once we started working together, fear became excitement. Commander Vextar walked to the navigation station, where human and Zephyrian officers worked side by side planning their next destination. Set course for the Andromeda sector. The singing crystals there have agreed to share their harmonic technologies. Course plotted, Commander, replied the hybrid navigation system in a voice that somehow sounded both human and alien, as the combined fleet prepared to jump to their next adventure. Dr. Gina made one final observation. We started this thinking. The aliens were trying to destroy us. We learned that sometimes the best way to win a war is to turn it into something better than peace. Turn it into friendship. The ships engaged their hybrid drives and disappeared into the void, carrying with them proof that the universe was big enough for everyone to grow together.